Hello once again, and welcome to another episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock. We have more exciting news from the athletic department regarding one of our new programs, but first we're going to be talking about volleyball today, and joining me to do so, head coach Abby Niekamp. Coach, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me today.
Well, obviously the 2016 season just around the corner. You'll get things started off this Friday, but 13 players on the roster this year. Just tell us a little bit about your team.
Yeah, so, we've been trying to build numbers. So this year we have 13. We had around that last year, but we had 2 injuries. So We only have 1 this year. So we're hoping to have a good season. We have a lot of returners coming back, which, the past couple years we've been such a young team, and that's hurt us a little bit for the lack of experience. But, we have a lot of juniors this year, so we're looking forward to a good season.
Well, you mentioned that there's 1 injury on the team this year. We'll talk about who that is after a bit, but any hope of getting her back this season?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
All right, well, let's go ahead and go through the roster. We'll start with the 6 returnees. We'll start off with senior middle hitter Morgan Steinbrenner. Just tell us a little bit about Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan's returning for her 4th year, so she's been with me since I got here, which is kind of cool and a little bittersweet that we're going into her senior season, but I think she's really excited. She has really high hopes for this season. She'll be playing the middle hitter position for us again this year. And we've changed up our blocking a little bit to something that she's a little bit more comfortable with, so we're really excited to see what she can do. She's been such a great leader on and off the court. She actually earned a captain's position this year. She's just one of those kids that no matter where she is, she's doing the right thing in regards of the program and herself, and she represents, the school really well. So she earned that captain's position this year. The one thing that might be a little bit tricky for her is we've been battling a back injury of hers for a couple years, and so this year we really just want to keep her healthy and keep her on the court and keep her being a solid hitter. She's looking to be a lot more consistent this year with her play, so I think she's going to step up in that position.
Now, with her being a captain this year, what are some of her new responsibilities going to be?
She's been so great about building relationships with her teammates, and that's one thing that she does really well. And, sometimes during practice, she's not in the defensive drills since she primarily plays the front row, but she's always really good at being involved and, being an extra set of eyes on the court. And, she just keeps the team together and keeps the, energy high in the gym.
All right. Well, moving on, let's talk about the junior libero, Madison Yoder.
Yeah, Yoder has been libero since her freshman year, so as a junior we're really looking for big things from her this year. She also earned a captain spot this year. She's one of the more aggressive leaders on the court where, she holds her teammates accountable and she really wants them to do their best so that she can do her best. So, she's set a really high bar for herself as far as digs and serve receive. I know that this year we're looking for her to step up in the serve receive role because we're putting a lot of new kids back there in serve receive. So we look for great things from her as well.
All right. Also, the other junior outside hitter, Bailey Gates. Tell us about Bailey.
Bailey is our 3rd captain. So kind of 1, 2, 3 right there. Bailey is, she's really just come into her own this year during this preseason. I think last year she compared herself to Mal a little bit of wanting to be able to take over that role whenever Mal graduated, and obviously she has. And I think Bailey just went out and she decided she's going to be her own person this year, and really aggressive on her arm swing. We worked on her arm swing a ton in the off season just to get it to where it needs to be, where she can hit really great out of system shots and be really aggressive whenever the set is right on. We might work her into the back row a little bit more this year as well. She plays great defense in middle back, and we've been really working on her serve receive, so she might be a player that you see out there for 6 rotations this year.
All right, so with those 3 being the captains, what are the responsibility of the captains compared to the rest of the team?
We're really putting a lot of emphasis on our leadership this year, of making sure that they can help bridge the gap between the coaches and the players. We have 13 players, we only have 2 coaches, so it's a little bit hard for us to know how everybody's feeling and making sure that everybody is on point with what they need to be doing. We worked in July a ton about our team culture. So they're really responsible in upholding our team culture, whether the girls are in the gym or away from the gym. A big thing that we put on their shoulders this year is making sure that every practice is approached the same from the players. So from the second that they walk in the door, they need to be ready. We practice in the morning right now, sometimes at 7 o'clock in the morning. So as soon as they get in there, the captains check in with everybody, see how they're doing, making sure that they're focused for practice and, setting the right tone for practice every day.
All right. So tell us a little bit about junior middle hitter Sydney Durham.
Yeah, Sydney is returning in the middle hitter spot, like you said. She's such a powerhouse when she wants to be. So we're looking for her to be a little bit more consistent in that role this year, but we also have to have our serve, receive, and defense on for her to do that. She's so aggressive. I don't know, I make the joke all the time, but her arms are the longest arms I've ever seen. So we joke about that with her a ton. With our new blocking scheme, I think she'll be getting a lot more touches this year and, a lot more effective touches. I think last year we were good about getting our block there, but it wasn't always an effective block, and so we were being tooled and things like that. So I think Sid's going to be able to really get a lot of stuff blocks this year and a lot of great touches on the block. Her arm's so quick, too, out of the middle, so we're going to be able to run her on a ton of different combinations.
Right. All right, junior defensive specialist Hannah Best.
Hannah Best, yeah, she transferred in her sophomore year. It was kind of an interesting transfer for her because she came mid-year. She came right after her freshman season and joined the team, so we got to work with her all spring. So it kind of seems like she's a returner at this point, that she's been here a little bit longer. She's one of the more quiet defensive specialists, and she speaks up when she needs to, which is really cool about Hannah, because she always kind of keeps the calm in the back row. She's really expanded her defensive play in the back row as well. She was kind of getting stuck in that middle spot last year and wasn't able to read the hitters very well, so we've been working on her expanding her defensive range, and she'll definitely be one of our key passers in serve receive this year as well.
Now, with her being a transfer, how did she end up here at IU East?
She's actually from Greenfield, right down the road, and she went down to Campbellsville in Kentucky, and it was just a little bit too far for her. Mm-hmm. So she contacted us right away, and we brought her up and got her in some open gyms and saw what she could do, and so she joined the team.
All right. The last returnee, sophomore setter Abby Ketchum.
Abby's stepping into the setter role really well. I don't know if you know much about her, but she came in, we recruited her as an outside hitter. Mm-hmm. And she has a heavy hand, and I was like, this girl is a powerhouse. She's going to be great for us. And, a few of our setters got hurt last year, and I saw her messing around at practice one day, and she set a perfect right side ball, and she was just goofing around. I was like, let me see that again. Let me see what you can do. And we ended up moving her into that position, and, you could tell she was scared at first. She was like, I've never done this. I'm running a 5-1. For the first time in my life, and we actually started her setting at the tournament that we're going to this weekend, and it was really fun to see her take over that spot, because as she started learning it, she has a lot of volleyball IQ as a setter, and so we have Coach Lundgren in here now, and he's really been working with the setters on that, and she's really owning that role, and we're really looking forward to seeing what she can do there, because the sky's the limit for her in that position, and she's so consistent already as a sophomore.
Right. All right, well, let's move on to the new players on the roster. We'll start with the junior that transferred from Campbellsville, also Brooklyn Bowling.
Yeah, Brooklyn's from the Indianapolis area, so she was down at Campbellsville, and she stayed down there a year longer than Hannah. She wasn't ready to come back home, and she finally decided to make the change this spring. So towards the end of the spring, we got her up here in some open gyms, and she's a tall right side, and she's very aggressive. We've been working on her arm swing. She has a really nice quick swing. Right. And one thing that I really love about Brooklyn is she's always smiling. She's always in a good mood no matter what. Even whenever she's frustrated, she'll still look at you and smile. Right. And I think that's really important to have on a team, because it just lifts the energy. Because we have those kids that kind of get down on themselves and stuck in their heads a little bit, and I think she's really great about getting them out of that. She's just such a positive energy on the court. Right.
All right, a freshman from Selma, Indiana, Meg Hicks. Tell us about Meg.
Meg, we recruited her out of high school, going into her freshman year, and she's actually technically, it's kind of confusing. She's technically going into her junior year, but on the team she's a freshman. But she did 2 years right away in 1 year when she came out of high school. So she got her associates in 1 year, and she contacted me and she was like, "Hey, I know this is out of the blue, but I really miss volleyball. Do you still have a spot open?" And I sat down with her and we met a few times and we really talked about it and decided she's always very mentally tough on the court, and she's very aggressive, and she played at Wapahani, so they have that culture over there. So we worked her into our roster, and she's been great. So we trained her as our second setter. She has great hands. She set all through high school, but her defensive mentality is tremendous. So we're looking to see if she can fill the right back DS position for our right side going into the back row. And who knows? It's still early, so we might move her around a little bit too.
All right, a freshman from just down the road in Centerville, Emily Jones. Tell us about Emily.
Emily, yes, we love Emily. She's so quiet, and she kind of comes out of the blue with all of her defensive movements that she does on the court, and we recruited her kind of late, but she was definitely one of the hardest workers in July. She is definitely our fastest kid on the team right now. We did a ton of testing, and she's super, super quick, and which is kind of cool because she's so quiet that you don't expect it from her. Right. So with her, we've been trying her in all three back row positions. We're not sure where she's going to play on the court yet because she's so versatile, and Her serve receives good, and we're working on that to get that up a little bit, but her defensive mentality is pretty awesome too. She's just so aggressive, and she's so quick on the court. She reads pretty well for a DS, so yeah, we're gonna see what we can do with her in the back row.
All right, another freshman, this one out of Fort Wayne, Brianna Kopke. Tell us about her.
Bree is so aggressive. She's an outside hitter for us, and she's about 6 foot, and she hits the heaviest ball I've seen in a while. I remember the first open gym we had her in, and she was hitting some back row attacks and just blasting people off the court. Mal, our All-American from last year, was having trouble passing her, which is really cool. So, you know, Bree's a little bit calmer on the court. She's a little bit quieter, and then you start getting her going, and she's really aggressive, and she's really loud. And I see her making a tremendous impact on us this year in the outside hitting position. Her block is amazing as well. You know, she's just so tall, and she's very sturdy on the block, so we're going to see great things out of her.
All right, freshman out of Fort Recovery, Ohio, Morgan Leonards.
Morgan is actually from back where I'm from. I tried to get her on my club team a couple years ago, and I just knew. I said, that kid is going to be athletic. She's going to be good. She's very raw right now. She's kind of played everywhere in the front row. We've been practicing her at middle and right side primarily, and we're going to see where she works in the lineup. She's still learning our systems. She hasn't been quite used to the speed of the game, but she's picking it up really well, and she's so athletic, so even if she gets out of position, she recovers really well. So I think once she gets the speed of the game down, she's going to be a definite threat for us.
All right. A freshman out of Lawrence Central in Indianapolis, Stasia Martin.
Stasia is playing middle back for us, and I think I've mentioned it in a previous interview with you. She's so loud on the court, and she's so aggressive, and she makes her presence known. So we're probably going to work her in a DS role and middle back this year as well. She has a solid serve. I really like her serve, but she's going to fill one of those spots for us for the hitters coming out of the front row.
All right, last but not least, freshman out of Anderson. That's April Stiers. Obviously, she's the injured one we were talking about earlier, but what can we expect to see out of her maybe next year?
Yeah, so April unfortunately was in a car accident about the week before she was supposed to move down here, and she broke her femur, which is a pretty serious injury. So she's recovering really well. She has a really positive energy about her, so I think she's handling it really well. That she had to go through all of that, and she's always smiling, so that's great. But one thing that we're working with her right now is just understanding she's a setter, so understanding our setting systems and what we expect out of our kids on the court. So we're working with her a ton on what is she seeing during practice, what can she pick up. Coach Lundgren has her doing some setting work off to the side during practice every once in a while, and she's starting her rehab. So we're hoping to get her back next year, and she's going to start setting, and she has these flawless hands. No matter where she is on the court, she can just release a perfect ball, which is really great for her. So once we get her mobile again, I think it's going to be really great.
All right. Well, thank you for your time today, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it from Coach Niekamp talking about her 2016 IU East women's volleyball team. They start their season off this weekend at the Lindsey Wilson Classic. We'll be right back with more Inside IU Sports right after this.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.